Zach Lund is a former Olympian and coach in the sport of skeleton, as well as an entrepreneur dedicated to pushing boundaries in life, sport, and business. He is currently writing Phoenix Rising, The 5 Principles to Living an Olympic Level Life, a book that teaches how to apply the same principles that drive elite athletes to achieve excellence in everyday life. He is also the founder of Olympic Life, a business dedicated to helping individuals and organizations unlock their full potential through high performance coaching, leadership, and development, as well as mindset training. Beyond his athletic and coaching career, Zach is also deeply committed to grief support for children through the Dougie Center in Portland, Oregon, helping young people navigate loss with courage and love. And in his free time, he enjoys camping and being in nature and playing all kinds of recreational sports, working out, and spending quality time with his 3 daughters. I had the pleasure of meeting Zach just a couple of weeks ago at a leadership event. It was a retreat in Utah, and he spoke to the group. And as soon as he started talking a few minutes into it, I knew I had to have him on the show. And Zach, I'd like to call you my friend as well. Thank you for being on Monday Morning Mojo.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be with you.
Yeah, I'm really happy to have you. And I know that one of the things that I wanted us to talk about is your journey as an Olympian. It is exciting to be able to spend some time with someone who has performed at such a high level. Not many people make it to the Olympics, and I think that's an incredible accomplishment. And I was just curious, maybe we can just jump in from there. What was the moment that you knew you wanted to compete at such a high level? And how did you really start that journey? And share a little bit about that. I don't know how old you were when you knew that maybe that was your goal.
Yeah, I was actually really young. Growing up, as early as I can remember, I loved watching the Olympics, both summer and winter Olympics. It meant the world to me. And my mom and I, it was something we would do together. And we would just watch every sport and everything. And I just loved what it stood for. I loved what it meant to me. And one day we were watching the Summer Olympics, and we just watched Carl Lewis win a gold medal. And I was just like, wow, that's what I want to do someday. I want to be like him.
How
And
old
so
were you then?
God, I was like maybe 8 years old, something like that.
Wow.
I had to look at the date when it happened, but it was somewhere, it was really young. And I looked at my mom and I said, Mom, I want to be Olympian someday. And she looked at me matter of factly and said, you better get training. And I was like, huh. So when she just said like that, I actually got up, went my backyard, and I started running sprint. I didn't know what I was
Wow.
training for, but I knew I needed to start training. And that's when my dream started. It was like literally those first steps in my backyard, training for I don't know what, just knowing that I wanted to be an Olympic athlete.
And I guess too, maybe looking back, you might not have realized it then at 8 years old, but even just how you explained it now, where you went, huh, it's like that realization that if I want to compete at that level, I better really be committed and disciplined and practice, right? So I can only imagine what kind of time you had to invest in that. And I'm sure there were moments where you questioned if this was worth it, whether, I don't know, did you ever feel like giving up?
So it came down to when I decided I got an opportunity to start pursuing this dream in sliding sports. And the sport of luge is what I first started out in. I eventually ended up in skeleton. My mom was diagnosed with cancer and got that offer, and I had to turn it down, unfortunately. Right when my first dream very first got legs under it and had a chance, I had to turn it down. And I sat by my mom's side for 2 years while she fought cancer. And before she passed away, I think she realized her time was limited. And she had me make a promise. And that was to always follow my dreams in life and to dream big and to do it in a way that would make her proud. And when she passed away, I was lost. And I thought about those words that she said and the promise to follow my dreams. My dream was to be an Olympic athlete. That was a dream we had together.
Wow.
So because of that, whenever hardships came, whenever anything came up that was hard, and most people were like, wow, how did you not quit? How did you not give up after that? Because I had a lot of hardships in my career. It was never a question for me because it was a promise. It was something that was going to happen. And it
That
took
really
a
kept you
long time to,
going.
yeah, it was that promise that helped me keep going through hard times.
I find oftentimes in life when we attach our commitment to something bigger than us or someone else, right? That becomes our big why. It usually is a much deeper commitment, right? Because you just don't want to break a promise or let that person down. And what a beautiful legacy and testament to the relationship and the love you and your mom shared.
Yeah, yeah. When you have purpose in your why, I agree. It makes it all that more meaningful. It's not a question of can I, hope I, it's I'm going to. It's mindset. It really is mindset.
We're going to come back to mindset too. I talk about mindset a lot here on Mojo. And I often have used the analogy of sports in business, as I know you probably have. And we're going to talk about your book. So I just want to get into that because you have transitioned from being an elite athlete, or you did a little while ago, into being an entrepreneur and now a coach. And talk to us a little bit about that journey, and starting with some of the things you've accomplished as an Olympic athlete as well, and what allowed you to bridge the gap into really working with and helping others achieve their goals.
Yeah, really, it all came about when I got done competing and finding that purpose. When I had a clear purpose of what I was working for in life, which was to be an Olympic athlete. Once I achieved that, it was a hard time.
Mm,
And for me, I decided it was time to give back. For me, I knew that I was able to be at the number one in the world in this sport for a reason, because I was able to figure it out and understand. And I wanted to give back to some of my to athletes. So I got into coaching, and I coached for 6 years and coached several Olympic and world champion and World Cup medals with my athletes. And it was in that time I realized the power in coaching. I always knew for me the power in coaching, but it was learning how to coach. It was a big step for me because I knew that in my journey, I would have never, ever got to my path and my goal of being an Olympic athlete without coaches. There was coaches in every step of my journey that helped me get past something that I probably wouldn't have without them. And I want to be that person for other people. I want to help people get to their life achievement, what they want to accomplish in life. And I know how important it is to have someone on your path to help you. So that's why I got into it.
yeah. Well, I totally understand because I'm a coach. I'm a professional coach, business coach, mindset coach, life coach, all those things for the last 15 years. And I totally agree with you. What does coaching or being a coach really do for you personally? What is your inspiration, or what do you connect with in terms of coaching? You started to touch on a little bit just now.
Yeah, I feel lucky that I've been able to have a lot of achievement in my life, both in sport and outside of sport professionally. And I've learned a lot along that path, along that journey. And there's a lot of things that I've been through, a lot of things I've learned from my journey that when I see people in that same spot, I'm like, oh, wow, I've been there. I can help them. I know what
Yeah.
they're going through. I can empathize with them and just listen. Really, as a coach, you are not solving anything for your clients. You're just helping them solve their own problems and learn. And that's
Yes.
all a good coach does.
Yeah, you're
And
helping them really self-discover. Sometimes we have the answers, we just don't know how to unlock it.
yeah, and I have coaches myself. I have multiple coaches I
Mhm.
work with because I need it myself. And then I'm
Yes.
also coaching other people. So it's like this beautiful thing where everyone needs it. And
Yes.
so I get the satisfaction of knowing I'm helping someone live their best life. That's
Yes.
literally all I need. When I work with someone and I know that I help them achieve or accomplish or figure something out, it's a great feeling.
It is,
And
right? We live
to
for that
me,
aha moment.
yeah, it doesn't get better than that. There's times when someone tells you what you help them do, and I get emotional because I'm like, wow, that feels good.
So tell us a little bit about your upcoming book, Phoenix Rising. I'm excited to get my hands on it. I know enough that you share 5 principles in the book for living an Olympic level life. So what can you share with us about that without giving it all away? Is there a principle or two that you want to talk about today with our audience?
Yeah. So when I got into the professional world, I worked with medical devices. I'm in the hospitals. I'm in surgeries and ORs working with really smart surgeons. And when I was in that work, I realized everyone's the same. Everyone's going through similar things. We're all human. We're all trying to navigate and do our best. And I realized that the things that help me achieve such high success in sport are the same principles and same things that help people. It can help you in anything. And I also realized that I've met so many amazing people, whether it's real estate agents or it's janitor or it's someone that you name it. I have met high achieving people in all aspects of life that are doing what they do at an Olympic level.
Mm.
And so it was in that realization, I was like, hey, the things that help me be high level could help other people in their own lives in whatever they do at high level and be at Olympic level. Because to me, the Olympics are about being the best. It's about excellence. It's about pushing yourself to your limit of what you're capable of and capable of achieving. And I want to help, and with my principles, help people achieve that level of excellence in what they do. And it's a holistic thing. It's not just professional, it's life, because it's all holistic. If your life is in shambles, your profession is not going to be, it all works together. And so with my 5 principles, my first principle is go head first in life. My principles are based off of skeleton in the sport I did.
Okay, so just in case there's anyone who doesn't know what skeleton is, just explain that quickly, because that in itself is a powerful thing to understand, because this is a sport that is not for the faint of heart.
No, it's a crazy extreme sport. A lot of people know what like bobsled is and cool running. That's what most people, at least our generation, knows that. I realize some of the younger people these days don't realize what cool running is, but it's a sliding sport. It's an extreme sliding sport. And it's where you go head first down the mountain and you go down a mile-long track on a sled that you steer and navigate down a chute of ice, like pure ice, reaching up to 90 miles per hour, reaching up to 5 G forces. And it's chaos. It really is. And what I loved about it was every run, I had to be on my game and I had to perform at my best to not crash and hurt myself. Like it was pushing me to my limit every single time I did it. And every single time I did it, there was new and unique challenges. And I loved just being able to adapt and learn and challenge myself. And so for me, a lot of people ask me, like,
sounds like a metaphor for life right there, right?
Is.
Going head first, 100 miles an hour.
Yeah. And one of the biggest questions that I get from people when they're like, well, why would you do such a crazy thing? That's crazy. Weren't you scared? And I think a lot of people think I have a screw loose, but I don't. I actually just enjoy challenges. I enjoy doing hard things. And that's what going headfirst into life is all about. It's about getting out of your comfort zone, because that's where the big things are in life.
Yes.
I learned that at a young age, skiing and jumping off cliffs and doing crazy things in sports and in recreation, and not being scared to do things that most people are scared of doing. It could be as little as like asking a girl out, or it could be applying for a job, or there's a lot of things that are scary in this world that we want to do. And the thing I've learned with going headfirst in life is don't let fear run the show. Yeah. We all have fear. I did an extreme sport. People think, oh, I'm crazy, I don't feel fear. I feel a lot of fear. I just don't let it dictate what I do.
I love that you're saying that, because I think that's so important for people to understand. And it is human to feel those emotions. It's what you decide to do next. Either you allow that fear to have you stop right in your tracks, or you push through it. And as you say, get out of your comfort zone, where it's all the things you want in life are waiting for you outside of that comfort zone.
Exactly. And what's the worst that happens? You try something and you either succeed or you learn and you grow. And for me, there's no such thing as failure, because I learn and grow from everything. And I love doing things I know that I'm not going to succeed at right away. I might never, but I learn and I grow. And I enjoy the challenge of trying. I enjoy the challenge of growing and learning with trying anything in life, because I know the benefit and I know the great things that can come from that.
Yeah. Obviously, it sounds like a lot of your Olympic career and your experiences and the lessons you pulled from that was a big inspiration for you with the book. What else inspired you to write? And what's significant about the title, Phoenix Rising?
Yeah. So I had a tumultuous journey on my Olympic journey. It was hard. And I barely made it to my Olympic dream because some things that were out of my control that really were hard to overcome. And when one of the things happened, I made the Olympic team in 2006. I was number 1 in the world, gold medal favorite. And I got dismissed over an inadvertent doping violation for a hair restoration medication I was taking for 5 of the 6 years before, or for 6 years. And on that 5th year, it became illegal. It was legal for all those years.
And what type of medication was it?
It was called finasteride. It was something that was to keep my hair from falling out.
Yeah.
Which I'm bald. It didn't work very well. But I was in the Olympic Village. I was about to walk in opening ceremonies and I got dismissed from the Olympics. And even though the court agreed that I was an honest athlete and made an honest mistake, they said that the way the rules were written, they had to punish me anyway. Even on the drug test I took, I told them I was taking this medication.
Right.
So long story short, it was really hard to accept something that was so unfair, especially because a year later, they took it off the ban list. It's legal
Oh,
today.
gosh.
So I missed that Olympics and I went into a dark spiral after that. I was always fun, outgoing, happy go lucky, and just loved life, loved my sport, loved it. And all of a sudden I got a little bit into that victim mentality and felt, poor me, why me?
Yeah.
And that's when my mentor, Kevin Hall, came across my path. And
Which
I
is
started
how we
working,
met. Kevin's
which is
a
how
vet.
we met.
Yep.
Exactly. That's how yeah.
Yep. He's one of my mentors and coaches too.
Amazing man. And he
Yep.
came across my path and he taught me, hey, you're not a victim, you're a victor.
Mm.
And we need to use this to propel you forward. One of my favorite things he tells me is use it as a guidepost forward, not a hitching post pulling you back.
Yes.
And so we created this idea of what does it mean? How am I going to overcome this? And we embodied this idea of me being a phoenix, rising out of the ashes of adversity to overcome. And when we came up with that, I literally, when I say embodied it, I embodied it. Like it was who I was.
You
It
lived
was
into
part-
it.
100%. I have it tattooed on me. My youngest daughter's name is Phoenix.
That's
It is
awesome.
and so that was part of that idea, that vision of that was a big part of me being able to overcome and getting back to the Olympics and finally getting to compete in 2010.
That's awesome. That's a powerful story. And like you said, we all have faced different challenges and adversities, and we all have things in our story. And what I have learned as I've gotten further from the point of origin of the story, I realize that our story is meant to be shared because we can inspire and teach other people things that will reveal things about themselves. And I love when you said we can do hard things. I can't imagine how hard it was for you and how, you worked so hard to get to the Olympics. And then for something that seemed really a technicality and unfair, you had to pack up and leave right before the games started. And I love and respect that you shared. It brought you into a dark space. And I think we have to be honest about that too. The key is that you didn't stay there and you figured out how to be resilient and bounce back. And if there is someone right now listening who's going through a tough time for whatever reason, whether it's in their career or in trying to figure out their business or something personal, what is one thing you would want to be able to share with them that might give them a little bit of that hope or shift their perspective?
No, 100%. It was what I did. And it is be willing to ask for help. Be willing to surround yourself with people that are cheering for you. And that's what I did. I went to the people in my life that were cheering for me. And they said, hey, let's figure this out. Let's find you help. That's how someone said, hey, you should talk to this guy named Kevin. I asked for help. And then I was willing to put it out there that I needed help, which as an Olympic athlete and you're this guy, macho, extreme sport, it can be a little bit hard to say, hey, I'm in a hard spot. I need some help. But at the same time, that's the biggest thing I ever did. And I surround myself. We talk about again, Shy, that we were at the event about having your inner circle of 5. And those people that are around you, you need that support group. And I would recommend for people to find their support group. And if they don't know it, if they don't have it yet, put the energy out into the world to find it. That's what I did.
Yeah.
I didn't have everything there in front of me, but I put the energy out and guess what? I got what I needed.
Yeah. Do you think it started with your intention when you say you put the energy out there? Was it just you getting clearer about what you needed and then that was how you started to attract it in?
Oh yeah. Having clear vision of what you want in life is key. If you're going to ask the universe for something, it's really important to know what you're asking for because otherwise it doesn't know what to give you.
Exactly, right. Yeah. I think we hear a lot about manifestation. It's become a buzzword. It's real and
It's
we're
real.
manifesting all day long. Yet I think it's important we understand what manifestation really is. And the universe is here to support you, yet it needs to know what it is that you want. And if you're not clear and if you have a lot of haze around it, it doesn't know what to connect you to. It doesn't know what to deliver. So I know that is true. That is important. And I think that's another thing we do as coaches is we help people get clarity. I always use the analogy, we spray the Windex and start cleaning
Yeah.
the grime off the window, right? So going back to what you're doing now as a coach, what have you found? And maybe you found it in your teammates or people that you were coaching in the sport as well as now in business and in life. What are some common roadblocks you think people face in terms of their own mindset? I know we're all different, but is there one or two that you think you come across often enough?
Yeah. There's a lot. The first one we talked about is fear and letting that dictate what they're willing to do in life and go after. But another big one is negative self-talk. And one thing I like to do with people that are struggling with that, and when our conversations, you can hear things coming up with that, is I invite them to journal their negative self-talk. I invite them to write down for a week or two. When those thoughts come out, write it down. And then we go back and look at it. And it's wow.
Shocking sometimes, right?
Yeah. Even if it's not something you're saying out loud, like it's just something that comes up in your mind, just write it down. And to see that self-talk, because what for yourself is what you are, right? We create our own reality. And if your vision of yourself is not in alignment with what you want in life, then you need to change that vision of yourself and embody who you want to be. And so it all starts with ourselves, right? It all starts here. And for me, when I need direction and stuff, I start with me first and get that clear vision and do the work, do the self work, do the meditation, do whatever I need to do to get the clarity for myself. And then I can go out and ask for the universe and ask people for help and get what I need.
Yeah, I love that. When you think about the fact that you're raising three daughters, just bring it in home a little bit, because I don't know about you. How old are your children?
They're 12, 14, and 21.
Okay,
All,
all girls, right?
yeah.
So you're also raising girls. I have two girls and a boy, but my children are adults. They're actually now parents themselves. I have three grandchildren, which I'm not sure how that happened, but that's for another episode. It seems like just yesterday I was on the soccer field with all of them. When you're thinking about the lessons and the things you want to teach your children, how do you instill the mindset of excellence? Because maybe I'm more curious about this for myself because sometimes my children look at me and they're like, okay, who are you? Or mom, I need you to be mom, not coach, but it's who we are. I think one of the things I've had people ask me, like, how did you get into coaching? I'm like, I don't know if I really got into coaching or if it's just me embodying part of my natural gifts and using them in that
Hmm.
way. How do you help your children understand some of these concepts and teach them elements of living life at a higher level or pursuing excellence in anything that they do while you're still also, I'm sure they're all three very different, all still honoring their individual paths.
Yeah, I listen a lot to
Mm,
them. But the first thing I instill is love for themselves and love for others, because that's where everything needs to come from is love. And I want them to understand and be empathetic and see the world. And I want them to be open-minded and not assume that they know everything. And it's okay to ask questions. It's okay to learn. It's okay to try things. And then the biggest thing I teach them is something that my brother actually taught me is if you're going to do something, do it right. If you're going
mm,
to do something, do it at a high level. Don't waste your time. Don't waste other people's time. You give it your all. And it could be anything. I read this thing recently where someone was talking about it's an actor. I can't think of his name right now. If you were paid $1 million to sweep a floor, how well would you sleep that floor? And would you do it at the level of what was worth of $1 million? And you
mhm.
would, right? You would do it at that level. So if that's the case, why not do everything you do in life at that level?
Yeah.
And so I try to tell my kids, like, hey, if you're going to go do this, do it right. If you're going to do homework, put your attention to it. Be focused. If you're going to do sports, go out and do it. Don't just be there and go through the motions. Give it your all. Because I know from firsthand experience that if you do that, if you treat things, everything you do in life at that level, good things happen.
I think you get noticed, right? And I think that you develop mastery, which leads to opportunities to develop mastery in other areas as well. And it's interesting because I think a lot of people want I don't know, the rewards or the attention or the accolades. But at the end of the day, they're not willing to work on the process to get there. And what you're talking about is whatever it is that you're doing, do it at such a high level that you're always pursuing excellence. Even if you fail, even if it's turns out to be not your thing or it's a little harder than you thought, no one can say you weren't giving it 100%.
The process is everything. Everything.
Yeah.
One of my principles is enjoy the journey. And
Yeah.
what I mean by enjoying the journey is, for me, when I look back at my career and I look back at all the awards and accolades and things and races I've won, all these things, it's not those things I remember. It's the friendships, it's these experiences, it's the just going through the everyday part of trying that I remember. Those are the things I love and I got the most of, as was just doing my best in everything I did and enjoying the process. And whether I failed or I won a race or I came in last, I still enjoyed the fact that I tried. I still enjoyed the fact that I was out living my dream and laying it on the line and not being scared to do that. And that was the best part of it.
You're so inspiring and also humble at the same time, because I know that you're just speaking from your heart and from your experiences, but I feel like you've dropped so many really great nuggets in this conversation that would help anyone, really help them to live a high level life or an Olympic level life. And so, who are some of the people that you like to coach? Who are you working with now as a coach? Who's your ideal client?
I like high achieving people that are looking to level up in life. I want someone that is they're not afraid to do the work. They've done the work, but they're looking for more meaning in life and they're looking to level up a little bit even more. Someone that's successful, but at the same time is like, hey, there's got to be more to it. There's got to be more than this, because that's how I feel. I've been to where I was like, man, I feel like I've accomplished a lot of big things, and I feel like there's got to be more to it. And that's that holistic approach. That's like that body, mind, spirit approach that I like to do. It's not just about results. It's about the whole journey. It's about the holistic approach to life. If someone resonates with that, I'm your person.
I love that. Zach, you just said something. I actually had that as a question I was going to ask you. For a lot of people, when you hear him, like, he's been an Olympic athlete, he's won all of these awards. Now he's written a book, right? You could say, oh my gosh, he's arrived at this high level of success. But from what I know of you, you don't ever think of it that way, right? So what's next for you? And how do you keep pushing through your limits and get to your next level of potential?
Yeah, I'm constantly trying to grow. I'm
Mhm.
constantly learning. I'm constantly reading books. I'm constantly meeting amazing people like you that help me think about things differently and to help me grow as a person. And for me, the next level is I want to be a top coach. I want my book to be a top book. And it's not because I have to get those things, it's because I want to help others.
Yeah.
Like literally, if I can help a few people achieve their highest level of living, that to me is everything I want. But I
That's
want to
you
help as
living your
many people
highest
as
level
possible.
then.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't do it if you're not doing it yourself. And so for me, coaching, speaking, doing these things, it's getting out of my comfort zone too. I speak. It's not my favorite thing in the world to do because it makes me nervous, just like it does anyone else. You look at the number.
You'll go down head first on an icy tunnel, 120 miles an hour, but public speaking might scare you more.
Maybe, but you know what? I do it.
Yeah.
I do it
Mhm.
because I know that's how I can accomplish what I'm trying to do with my life, which is to help others. And I can't do that without putting frequency out there. And to do that, speaking is a powerful thing. And so I get past my fear. I don't let it keep me from doing it. And I love to look at everything as an exchange of energy. And I'm just trying to put out the energy into the world that I want people to receive, that I would want to receive.
Absolutely. I could talk to you forever, and I'm sure we'll talk more. But if there was a question that I should have asked you that I didn't ask you, what would it be?
Oh man, that you didn't ask me.
What do you want us to know that maybe we didn't talk about today?
I guess one thing that I do that means a lot to me is grief support.
Yes.
Grief is something that everyone has to deal with. Grief is something that I had to deal with at a young age when I
Mhm.
lost my mom at age 15. And I was lucky enough to have sport to work with, and it was my grief support was sport. Not everyone has that.
Right.
And for anyone out there that's grieving and that's going through a hard time, I guess I would want them to know that there's people out there that care. There's programs out there and nonprofits that are there to help and to not get lost in the grief, because it's part of life. And there's a lot of resources and a lot of people that care out there. And that's something that I love doing because I know how hard it is for people and just want to help in that way.
So if someone is connecting with you on that level and wanted to learn more, share with us what you're doing, your organization.
Yeah, so I'm on the board of directors and I also volunteer facilitator for the Dougie Center, which is located here in Portland, Oregon. And it's like the flagship of grief support for children. It was the original one. There's 400 programs across the world that are based on our program. And it's grief support through play. Kids have a hard time understanding what loss is and what losing a mother. I think it's 1 in 11 kids in America will lose a parent or a sibling before the age of 18.
Wow.
It's a staggering number. And then you look at the statistics of how hard that can be, and it can lead to addictions and self-harm and all these things that it can lead to. It's staggering statistics on that. And so I want people to know that there's programs there to help and to help you through that. And it's beautiful because it's not therapy. It's literally just play. Kids are processing what they've gone through by playing and just being able to be around others that are going through the same thing.
Right.
Community.
And I'm really glad we got to talk about that because I think it's so important. If someone would like to just connect with you or know more about you, you've got your book coming out, Phoenix Rising. When is that going to be available?
The goal is to have it out by the end of this year.
Okay, so we're going to watch for that. And how can people connect with you or follow you if they would like a little bit more Zach Lund?
It's a good question. I'm so old school. I'm not good at the social media yet. I literally am going to be like date myself and give my email address, but that's literally how I would like. I really enjoy
Okay.
talking to people one-on-one, and that's something I can post or I can tell you now if you'd like.
Yeah, sure. Share your email. We'll put it in the show notes too.
Yeah, it's Zach J Lund at gmail.com. That's ZACHJLUND at
Easy.
gmail.com.
Okay.
And just email me and I would love to talk. Anyone that even just wants to talk and have a conversation, I would love to do that.
You're easy to talk to. This was a great conversation, and I'm very honored that you were able to take the time to meet with me today and to share so many powerful things that you did share in this conversation. I know that you've definitely impacted people through it, and I trust that there are people who are inspired by what you had to say today too. So thank you for being on the show, and I appreciate you. And I look forward to seeing you and doing more things together, perhaps. So there, I put it out there. We should think about how we can collaborate.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you so much. Like I really enjoyed our energy and meeting you at the Genshai retreat recently, and such an honor to be on your podcast. And I'm just glad that you're doing the same thing and getting this frequency out there to help improve the world.
Thank you. Thank you. That's what it's all about, right? We have to leave it a little bit better than the way we came. So thanks again,
100%.
Zach.
Awesome. Thank you.